everyone, this is Pause or Repeat. Here we figure out whether a game is really worth your time and money. Today's game is Rift of the NecroDancer. This is a spin-off title in the same universe as 2015's Crypt of the NecroDancer. Just like its roguelike predecessor, this is another rhythm game that aims to capture the hearts of gamers through clever design and engaging gameplay. So were they successful? Let's strum into the gameplay and see if they got some sick riffs. The gameplay of Rift of the NecroDancer is mostly a Guitar Hero lookalike at the forefront, but there are other modes as well. In Rhythm Rift mode, enemies will go down the screen and you will have to time your inputs properly to attack them on the beat. Each enemy behaves differently based on their type, which ranges from slimes to skeletons to bats, but also their color and shadow. Some enemies will require more than one hit, and some will even move around in an attempt to trip you up. Outside of this mode, there are also mini-games and boss fights, both of which will still require you to input correct actions on the beat. The game also lets you create custom stages, and you can share them through Steam Workshop, which is really what will allow this game to have lots of replay value. Now, how about the story? The story follows the same protagonist as Crypt of the NecroDancer, Cadence. She's been dragged into an unusual world, the real world. However, she quickly finds that many of the companions and enemies from her world have also been dragged here by the Rift. Together with her compatriots, they must unravel the mystery of the Rift and find a way back home. But now the question still stands. Pause or repeat? In 2025, in the absence of big major rhythm game players like Guitar Hero or Rock Band, we have games like this. But here's the question, is it worth your money? What do you think about this game, Chris?
Yeah, the NecroDancer is back, and this time it's bringing on a full-on rhythm-fueled monster mosh pit in the Rift of the NecroDancer. Cadence has somehow been dragged into yet another musical nightmare where the only way out is to throw hands on beat, of course, except the pulse-pounding rhythm riffs, ridiculously over-the-top boss fights and minigames, so quirky they might as well have a side quest and some kind of psychedelic fever dream, all set to killer soundtracks with over 30-plus tracks ready to keep you grooving and probably sweating to the beat. What do you say, Henrik?
Well, that's actually a good point you brought up about the soundtrack, because this soundtrack is a banger.
It really is.
And it's very important with a game like this. Yeah, exactly. It has to be. Because the gameplay is going to be dictated by how good the soundtrack is.
Yes.
So if you have a bad soundtrack, the gameplay is not going to feel that satisfying. But with this great of a soundtrack, you're looking at great gameplay to follow along with that.
Yeah, and if you're not vibing with it, you have either a bad taste of music.
Yeah, and I couldn't help myself that, as I was playing, I was either bobbing my head or you tapping my foot or both at the same time, because it's just that kind of game that makes you want to do that, not even just to keep time with the game, but just you're really actually just enjoying what's going on.
Oh, absolutely, Henrik. I mean, imagine Dance Dance Revolution and Guitar Hero had a love child, but then the Crypt of the NecroDancer showed up like that cool uncle like Rick and Morty with a bunch of deadly rhythm-based surprises. I mean, you're going to get traps that mess with how the enemies move, monsters that charge straight at you, and mechanics so intense you'll wonder if you should be playing this with the dance pad. I mean, I feel like there's endless possibilities to this game. I mean, just to make the experience even more unhinged.
Yeah, and the possibilities really are endless when you consider the fact that there's the tie-in with the Steam Workshop, where you can make custom tracks for people and then share that to the entire community, and they can do that for you as well. So you're not limited to just the soundtrack that the game comes with.
I know, isn't that so cool?
You want to make something that, hasn't been made yet, or if someone makes something for a song that you like, there you go.
Yeah, it's very like Tony Hawk Pro Skater. You know, you get to be able to make your own custom arena. You get to be able to
Hmm.
do that as well here in this video game. I feel like there's a lot of really cool attributes that are implemented into this video game. You're going to get on top of the Rift, you know, red harpies. They zoom in at you like they just realized they left the oven on. And then you get these black skeletons that take 2 hits and then jog back up the Rift like they're late to work. So, you know, there's cool elements that kind of give you that Guitar Hero vibe, you know, especially the quote unquote vibe power. It's a special ability that makes
Hmm.
cadence visible after landing a long enough combo streak because nothing screams power move like styling on a horde of monsters with perfect rhythm.
Now, I have a question for you, Chris.
Yes,
Did you play Crypt of the Necrodancer, the
I did
original
not.
game?
I did not. And I feel like
Oh,
this game is so much fun that it makes you want to go back and visit the original IP because there's a lot of
yeah.
replayability with this video game.
Yeah, no, definitely. This one has replayability, and so does the original in this series. The Crypt of the Necrodancer, that's a roguelike. And I really enjoyed that game when it came out back in 2015. So seeing them dive back into this universe was just like, okay, I gotta be on top of this because that original game being so good, they have to do this even better. And it's not the exact same genre, but this game really does want to bring me back in and keep playing it over and over. And even if it means playing the same track over and over again, because I can just bump up the difficulty. And if I'm having trouble with a certain difficulty, I'm going to jump right back in. And
What'd you find
eventually,
yourself jumping
I
into?
will
Or
learn it.
did you jump right into impossible, or did you just kind of
Oh,
keep
no,
it
no,
on?
no.
You're like, nah, I
I'm
couldn't
not
vibe with
that
that.
much, yeah, I know what you're going to say. I'm not that much of a rhythm game person to be able to do that.
Yeah, sounds like a
And
skill issue. Sounds
there
like
you
a skill
go.
issue.
But,
You know, I think that's the one
but
thing that humbles you
you
about
know
this video
what?
game. Because before you even start the game, you got the video and audio calibration settings to really make sure that you're button mashing to the beat of the pulse. And so like if you can't figure it out, then what is it, Henrik?
Yes, exactly.
Sounds like a skill issue. But I gotta say these boss battles, oh, they slap. I mean, each one is
Oh, yeah.
so well animated that it's honestly distracting. I mean, you're gonna be dodging these purple rings to avoid damage while waiting for those sweet gold rings to punch back at those badass bosses, all while bobbing to the beat like you're in the world's deadliest dance off. And if that's not enough, I truly believe there's a ton of replayability in this video game. There's high score chasing. There are B-side tracks, like Henrik mentioned, where, they're fan favorite created tracks that are created on top of the riff. That is really, really cool. There are some very odd laid back mini games like yoga sessions, or let's even say going to SpongeBob SquarePants Krusty Krabs and making sandwiches with your buddy as a side hustle job. But then we also got people like Zackoman Gaming that's saying, I'm curious about it, but not sure how repetitive it looks. Well, this is really for the people that are looking for that arcade style chaos that'll keep you saying, just one more run until you realize it's 3 a.m. Zacko
Yeah.
Man Gaming.
And on top of that, even if you eventually get tired of all the songs that it comes with, like we mentioned, you're not limited to just those songs. So you can go make your own track and then try to play that, or see if someone has made a track for a song that you really like. And
Yeah.
that is part of why it has such great replayability. That's actually on top of just the replayability of having to learn the higher difficulties, which
Mm-hmm.
that is a challenge.
Yeah,
Don't
because
get me wrong.
I feel like most people kind of jump in hitting normal at first, and then you play like a few levels in, and then you're going, I totally regret taking it this easy. I need to up
Yeah.
the antics
Yeah.
because I'm telling you right now, Rift of the NecroDancer is fresh, funky, and absolutely a repeat for me. So brace yourself. Games has once again proven how they can just blend these wild mechanics into something that just works, and I'm here for it.
Yeah. Definitely. It's a repeat for me as well. You got to keep your eye on this. It's also not very expensive. So why not?
Yeah, it's so true. But we want to hear from you, the gamers. Is this on your radar list? Have you not even heard about this game? Well, we want to hear from you, the gamers. And is it a pause to play something else, or is it a repeat for just endless fun? Let us know What's good?